How the days are all the same, each one following the next without change, without color, without passion. How the days seem endless in the land of the gray winters. But who could have known that from one of these cottages, the most secluded one bordering the forest of sighs, a hope, which had long been forgotten, would soon be reborn? "Why don't the fire's flames warm us, grandmother?" asked the youngest of the family. So numerous were the children in the household that the grandmother had knitted each child a shirt with their name upon it in order to differentiate one from the other. The young boy's next question was an unusual one. Although it was true that this evening was particularly frigid, the cold was something the land of gray winters had grown accustomed to. In living memory, as far as one could recall, the hearth's fire had never been able to chase away the shivers of the inhabitants living in these thatched dwellings. As far as the men could remember, indeed it had always been as such, yet a woman remembered earlier days. The grandmother of this particular cottage was the eldest in the village, perhaps even in the land. Despite her age, her face furrowed by the passage of time still kept a hint of youth in comparison to the other villagers. Her cheeks were still apple pink, and her eyes revealed a sparkle of warmth. She carefully placed her half-knit garment down on her knees, as she was already well into the conception of a pullover for the newest unborn addition to the family. And with a long creaking, her chair immediately ceased to rock. She lifted her head, her elderly gaze fixed upon the youngest child whom, because of his endless curiosity, had been baptized the ferret, and spoke. "They don't warm us, you say? The fire of the hearth hasn't warmed us for a very long time, but actually there is more than enough heat radiating from this fire to keep us warm, my child." The ferret looked at his brothers and sisters to make sure that he wasn't the only one not to grasp what had just been said. Then, as they were all busy yawning and getting ready for bed, he turned to his grandmother and asked, "How can fire warm us without us feeling it?" "Ah, now that is a good question, a question that has been waiting to be asked for a long time. You see, the problem, it is not fire. The problem is us. The people of the land of the gray winters have long forgotten what it is to appreciate the good things that life has to offer. Blinded by greed, they became all consumed by work, never giving a thought to anything else. Day in, day out, they began living a tedious and monotonous routine, until finally one day their hearts became closed to the beauty and pleasures of life. On that day, when their hearts fell asleep, their senses went to sleep as well. Today, the men and the women of the land of the gray winters work from dawn to dusk, cutting wood to feed their hungry hearths which no longer cast warmness over them. Slowly, the youngster turned his head toward his grandmother. The sadness her words had caused was clear from the expression on his face. But it has not always been this way. More importantly, there is nothing in this world that cannot be changed with kindness and goodwill, she continued. Seeing the ferret's reaction, she spoke further, encouraging the boy. In fact, there is a way to awake our deadened hearts and our sleeping senses. It is actually quite simple. Whoever has the courage will be able to bring joy and happiness back to our land. "But I have courage," the child exclaimed. "How will I do it, grandmother? Tell me how." The old lady's blue eyes narrowed ever so gently. They seemed to probe the boy's very soul. Rising quickly, the grandmother unrolled the hand-woven rug that lay on the wooden floor mere steps before the hearth, revealing a secret trapdoor that no one else in the house had known existed. Ever so gingerly, she opened the door and withdrew a large bag that she handed to the ferret. Smiling mischievously, she whispered, "Here are a few objects with, let us say, uncommon characteristics that will be very helpful on your adventure." The young boy untied the rope around the bag, while her brothers and sisters looked on in wonder. With nervous hands, he withdrew a red lantern that was adorned with pretty patterns that resembled snowflakes dancing in the sky. Next, he pulled out a long glass bottle that was in the shape of a pine tree and was decorated with a lovely red ribbon. Its contents had a pink tint like that of a rose in bloom. Next came an orange ceramic container whose curves and delicate angles were crowned with shiny polished metal. Then came a charming blue bottle, attached to which was a spray. Finally, his hands trembling with excitement, the boy grasped the last of the mysterious objects lying at the bottom of the bag, a red, gleaming metal bucket filled with salt and a wooden shovel. The sight of these strange treasures made everyone in the room gasp with awe. Seeing this, the old woman threw her hand back and began to laugh loudly and heartily. It was a laugh loud enough to awaken all the sleeping children nestled in their beds. Stunned by her outburst, no one could take their eyes off the grandmother. Her laugh echoed throughout the whole valley, bouncing off trees and houses, awakening the villagers. No one had heard such a joyous laugh for many, many years in the land.